Hockeytown, it's a place where dreams are found. We fought so many battles here, now we're the ones that they will fear. The cup resides within our town, we won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours, for all to drink. It's our time, let's rock this ring.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You are here with us, your beautiful host, once again, Matt, Derek, and Zach. Boys, happy Sunday. Welcome back. What's going on? How's our weekends going? Not all at once now. Come on.
Yesterday was great. Went to a bunch of little beer gardens. At least it was fun.
Yeah, nice to be on another episode. I got nothing going on. Let's kick it to Zach.
I don't do anything. Awesome this Sunday. I can feel the energy, guys. Here, let me help you guys out. Everyone, if you guys haven't noticed, we are officially running our own merchandise and apparel. I'm not wearing any shirts, but I do have my hat on again today. Matt has this little squishmallow from the Toledo Walleye game that we went to last year. It's on his other side. Derek has Red Wing stuff. But if you guys haven't been to it yet, go on our link tree, which is on all of our socials, and you can find the merchandise and apparel. I am sporting the trucker hat. You can find my golden girl, little Miss Eleanor, sporting the trucker cap as well. Go ahead and support us if you can. The Red Wings as well, if you like our podcast. If not, if you just like the logo, go ahead and do that too. We really do appreciate it. And while you're here, if you are new, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and then hit that thumbs up button if you are returning. Thank you for joining us once again for the second round of potential targets for the Detroit Red Wings at the 2024 NHL Draft with the 15th overall pick this season. The last four players that we covered were Tarek Parashek, I believe is how you pronounce it. I was always saying Parasek, but
sounds right to me.
Yeah, they sound great either way. Cole Heiserman, Liam Greentree, and Michael Branson, Nygard, however you want to pronounce that too. And so today we will be covering four new players that each of us have selected, the hosts that the Red Wings could potentially be selecting. Could be selected sooner, they could be selected later, who knows? But we picked these players based on who we would like to see in the Red Wing system and who we see fit that could still potentially be there. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it, boys. And afterwards, we'll cover the Red Wings news and around the league news as well with playoff updates and some other league news stuff. And so let's go ahead and kick it off. Derek, you will be covering for Carlos' player as well. Are you going to start with yours, or who are you going to go with? Who's the draftee today that you could see the Red Wings possibly selecting with the 15th overall pick, and why he could fit with the Red Wings system?
Honestly, going back and forth, I do have a lot more on the prospect that I picked, but at the same time, I'd rather have Carlos on the team than mine. So, you know what? Let's start with Carlos' pick, Michael Hage.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and start with him.
So Michael Hage, born April 14, 2006, 6'1", 190 pounds, plays center, shoots right hand, which is not a bad thing that the Red Wings could possibly use on their team.
Yep.
Forward strength at center especially. Big boy, 6'1", 190 pounds already. Been playing for the Chicago Steel in the USHL. He had 33 goals and 75 points in 54 games. So I would say pretty good production there, especially coming from the fact that most of that happened towards the end of the season, which kind of boosted him up the boards pretty well for himself. So I say he's doing well in that aspect. Well, let's see.
Yeah, I believe he ended up getting around like 50 points around like the last 30 games that he played in the USHL, which is extremely insane to be almost a 2-point per game player like that.
Yes, crazy production. The only one thing I kind of, besides his shooting in his hands, which are pretty on point, did anyone like look at his highlights and to watch him skate out there?
So that's when I texted in the group chat. I was like, he looks like he does not belong in the USHL. Like he overly dominates, and I don't think his skating really is. He has good skating. I don't think the skating is his best attribute though. Like I said, it's not bad, but it's not the greatest.
Doing his Bambi legs out there, then he actually might get some speed on him because he has great edge work. But my goodness, I feel like I might be able to push him over because Bambi is coming at me. I don't know.
Sounds like another kind of like Andrew Crystal case, like we were talking about last year. Like she just got all the skill and everything, but the skating, oh boy, is piss poor.
No, I wouldn't say like that. Like his strides are fine. I think it's just more so the acceleration portion of it, where if he's like his skating and stride is fine, but it's the acceleration portion where he just doesn't have that explosive speed to catch up. Like if he has to back check. So that's what I noticed that can be an issue with his skating. But like Derek said, when you watch clips of him playing and the way that he skates, because he does skate circles around players, he's good at, he reminds me, if I pick a player off the Red Wings currently, his puck handling, and I'm sorry, I know this is Derek's player to talk about, but I'm going to jump in too because this player does excite me. And I know Wing Wheel Pod did talk about on their mock draft that this is a player that they could see the Red Wings playing or picking, in this draft. So that kind of piggyback off of them and everything that they said, right? So, but yeah, he reminds me of almost like a David Perron. Really hard to get the puck off of, does a really good job at protecting the puck. He's a centerman, right? So he has a two-way game. He's really good on the offensive side, and that's one of his strengths is his offensive upside that he brings on the table. And he just looks very dominant out on the ice compared to his teammates and opponents both. So Derek, I'm sorry, but continue on with everything else that you have to say about Haig or Hage.
I'll piggyback off you with Danny Perron because he is a power forward on the center. He does well. The one thing I would want him to do just a little more is get that shooting up because I see him very well much as a playmaker out there. He's able to skate through the opposition, see the open lanes. He makes great passes, but his shot is pretty accurate and pretty precise, but he just doesn't take it enough, it seems like, in the league. So what happens if he starts shooting more, and do we get the goal scorer we need? That's what I was hoping for. It looks pretty decent for most of the point, but at the same time, we see how stacked the prospect pool is for this draft. So besides him being very silky on his edges and very good hands, I can see him going like 15 to 25. So it would be in our range. People probably see him a little bit higher up than that, but I just think because how stacked it is, he's just going to fall a lot more than we think.
Yeah, and I don't think you said these numbers, Derek, but yeah, he did finish the season with 33 goals, 42 assists, and 75 points. He was fourth in points in the USHL, and he is going to play with the University of Michigan next season. And thank God, because like I said, he just looks way better than the competition out there in the USHL. So I'm glad to see that he is making that next step to go play over in college, and especially for a team like University of Michigan. So I think he has ample opportunity to increase his level of play, his style of play that he does bring, because I do kind of see him as a power forward, kind of like how you mentioned, Derek, that is really good at just handling the puck, decent hands, good hockey IQ. Like you mentioned, he knows how to find his players, extends plays a little bit too, but I feel like that he also forces plays a little bit too much, just tries to do too much overall, which is not a bad thing, because I'd rather see that, I guess, now, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And as you progress down the line in your development, you're going to figure those things out too. And so allowing him to be a player that can do whatever he wants and figure out what works and what doesn't is going to help him out down the line. And so, forcing plays, I think he needs to work on his defense. Sometimes he kind of just glides, just watches the plays, and that kind of burns him. So he just needs to work a little bit on that. And then just the skating acceleration, honestly, for me, is what I've noticed about Haig or Haggy, however you want to pronounce it. I keep saying that. But I think that this could be a really good pick for the Red Wings. I like the offensive upside. I don't know what it could look like, but top six forward that can play behind Lucas Raymond on the second line, I think that this would be a good player. He can play center too, so versatility is there. So fitting in the Red Wings system, I think that this could be great. Maybe you could see him on the Red Wings roster in maybe 2 to 3 years, depends on how quickly you want him up. But yeah,
as everyone can tell, I'm really happy that Zach also did the research on this guy too, because I had very little knowledge and very little amount of time.
Carlo had a thing come up, so we had to fill in a little late today. it's not Carlo's fault or really anyone's fault, but yeah, we're filling in for Carlo today. But you're welcome, Derek. Not a problem at all. So, but whatever else you got, fill in the blanks. But yeah, like I said, I know the Wing Wheel Pod, they picked him in their mock draft. So if you guys haven't seen that, go ahead and check that out. They really like the pick. They think that he could bring the type of offensive upside that the Red Wings need. Like I mentioned as well, I believe that as well. But I do believe that if there are other players available on this list, like the player that I am going to mention, I would rather pick that player. And even some of the players that we mentioned before on our previous episode, which if you have not seen that, please go check that out. So yeah, Derek, do you have anything that you want to finish off on this prospect?
No, I'm gonna say besides that's big. Good morning.
No, Zach, you beat me on everything else I put on here, so thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Matt, what are your thoughts on this type of prospect?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I could really think to add is you guys talk a lot about how he's playing in the USHL, and from watching him play, it's pretty clear that he does not belong in that league. It's like he's too good for that league. My only concern is he really this good because he's a super skilled player, or is he putting up numbers like this because he doesn't really have that much competition? You know what I'm trying to say? It's kind of like the inverse of like Danielson last year, where it's like, okay, is he really going to have some offensive upside, or is he just playing on a terrible team? It's a little bit of the inverse, but I like what you guys say. I do think he could be a good player. I do have some limited knowledge on him too. I only really watched like I think one video on him, and it was like a couple weeks ago. So I don't know too much. I'd definitely be interested in learning a little bit more and watching him play again. But I guess that'd be my only concern. Obviously going to U of M, that's going to be great for his development. He's going to get probably a year or two under his belt, like definitely a year at most. But yeah, he could be an interesting player. If you pick him, he's a guy you can watch right in your backyard if you're the Red Wings. I mean, Ann Arbor is only like a 35, 40-minute drive. So
yep.
Definitely could be a target there. I could see him going, honestly, probably a little lower in like the 10s, like probably closer to like the 20s, just because of, how much more highly skilled forwards are available. And of course, naturally, the D in this draft is just so deep at the top that it's going to push everybody down. So I think no matter who you're getting at 15, it's going to be like a really highly skilled forward, and it's going to be someone that the Red Wings are kind of lacking. That's about it. And am I going next? Does anybody else want to go next?
Yeah, you're next if you want to go next, unless Derek wants to touch on his player of choice. But yeah, feel free to go next, Matt.
Yeah, Matt, go ahead. People don't need to hear me that much.
Well, all right then. Let's dive into Consta Helenius. He is a 5'11", just an inch below 6 feet, 181 pounds, playing in the Liga this year, which was the top Finnish league. Where are his stats? He has so many stats on Elite Prospects. Oh my God. He played for like 5 different teams. Here we go. Okay. Played for Ukarit in the Liga. Had 36 points, 14 goals, 22 assists. And in the playoffs was a point per game player, 2 goals and 4 assists. That's pretty impressive for a guy who's only 18 years old. That's a men's league right there. And the Liga, I don't know too much about the Liga, but I know it is like pretty comparable to the SHL. Obviously, it's like the Finnish top league. It's kind of similar to the SHL where, like you're not putting up like too many points there if you're like a young guy. Like if you have a guy who's like been there, he's played 51 games and he's got like whatever, 10, 15 points. That's still pretty impressive. The fact he has, what did I say, 36 points in 51 games? I don't have it in front of me anymore. I put it back to full screen, but whatever it was, it's a very impressive total. It really is. I mean, this guy, honestly, he can do everything. He really doesn't have too many weaknesses. If I were a betting man, I would honestly bet on this guy going in the top 10. I'd have him honestly around like Calgary, New Jersey's pick. I really think it would be surprising if he slipped past those guys, but honestly, it happens every year that we see a top guy slip past. We all said last year in our mock drafts and our profiles that, oh, Zach Benson, he's for sure going in the top 10. Well, guess what? He went 13 to Buffalo. So didn't really shake out that way. So you never really truly know what's going to happen. But yeah, he could definitely be a potential target for the Red Wings. I think, we were talking last episode about the possibility of trading up from 15 to another spot a little higher. I think if Helenius falls outside of the top 10 and he's available at 11 or even pick 12, I think that's the time you pounce on it and you have to go for it, because he's really something that I think the Red Wings, I don't know if they're necessarily lacking, but he's the type of prospect that is so versatile that he's just going to be a great addition no matter what. He is a center. I honestly could see him playing wing in the NHL, especially if he goes to the Red Wings, because it kind of feels like unless he beats out like Marco Kasper or Nate Danielson, and he's just a way better option than the two of those for center, I honestly think he might be a winger in the NHL. I think he could be a top 6 winger. I really genuinely do. I think at the height of his career, he could be a second line winger 100%. He's got great compete. I've watched a couple highlight videos of him getting into board battles, and, keep in mind, he's getting into battles of guys that are sometimes like 7-8 years older than him, a lot more mature in Liga, and he gets in battles and you're watching him play and you're like, well, he's for sure going to lose this battle. I mean, this guy's got so much strength and size on him, and he doesn't. And the reason he doesn't is because he just has that little extra motor to compete, and he just doesn't give up on the play. He just says, you know what? I'm not going to let this guy beat me. I need to make a play for my team. And he does. He wins the battle, and then he can make something happen from it. And I think that's something that's honestly really important to see in a player this early on in his development. That's usually something that you don't really see unless they've had like a year or two of extra development after the draft. The fact he's doing that now, that's a really important thing to see. So, yeah, he gets in the dirty areas, not afraid to give up on a play. All that's awesome. He has great playmaking ability, like fantastic playmaking ability. I don't know if that's like the one strength he has above everything else, because he is a really good goal scorer too. But I mean, he's such a smart player, man. Like, he just knows how to get to the soft areas on the ice, knows where everybody is at every time on his team. I mean, he really can make plays happen at a very elite level. And, he has a goal scoring touch. It's not necessarily because of his shot. He really doesn't have a shot like an Yzerman type player or I mean, like a Macklin Celebrini, I guess. I guess there's not really like too many pure goal scorers in the draft, but just the way he can get into like the soft areas of the ice and wait for a lane to open up, that just speaks to his hockey IQ. And, he can rip it home. He really can. So I think all that's great. He really doesn't have too many deficiencies, like I said. His skating's good. He just kind of lacks that little like what do you call it? Like that explosive speed at the start of his stride. But, he can get going on, like, his skating is really good. His edge work is actually fantastic. It's like probably some of the best edge work in this entire draft. I'd say maybe the only one better is Celebrini. That's how good it is. Like, he's seriously so good at moving side to side and just honestly making guys look silly. Like, I watched some highlights. Like, he was dangling some guys. Like, I don't want to say it because this sounds blasphemous, but it was a little bit of shades of Datsuk right there. I'm going to be completely honest. There's really not too much negative to say about him. I mean, just needs to put on a little more muscle, but you can say that about literally every single player in this entire draft. So
correct.
Really don't even think that's a weakness at all. Like, literally everyone has to do that. These are 18, 17-year-old kids. Like, they're just naturally going to be skinny like a beanstalk. Like, they're younger kids. But yeah, there's a lot to like here about this player. There really honestly is. And that's pretty much what I got for you.
Yeah, and Matt, I would agree with you. I mean, he shoots right. His consolidated rankings amongst, journalists that do these draft rankings for prospects is 10th among all the prospects in the 2024 NHL draft. So there's a good chance that he could not be there for the Red Wings at 15. And yeah, you really could make the argument this is a player. If he falls outside of the top 10 and if he's available there at 11 or 12, this is a player that the Red Wings could pounce on. And he does play center. Are you selecting him to be a center? You have Nate Danielson and Marco Kasper that could be a 2 and 3C. Do you want more of a guarantee at 2C? Consta Helenius could potentially be that. So how quick could he make the jump to the NHL? I'm not exactly sure. It's not easy to answer because there are so many different factors. Maybe 2, maybe 3 years. That's kind of what you hope for forwards.
I think he could do it really soon, to be honest. I mean, just the way he plays, his game is so mature. I really think he could do it within a year. I'm not even kidding. Like 19, 20 years old, he could be in the NHL.
So what would the Red Wings be drafting him for, in your personal opinion, based on what you said? Is it because of his ability to score? Because that's kind of what we've been talking about, right? We feel like that the Red Wings now, we want them to kind of fill a need that isn't something that is in their prospect pipeline right now. So do you think that he could fill in that need of being like the center that has the offensive upside that someone like Comfort and Kopp don't currently really have? Or what do you see really?
Yeah, I would say that's probably primarily what they get him for. I think if they're going to draft him, they're going to draft him in mind of him being a center in the NHL. But when you think about it, if you go after him, you're going to have Helenius, Danielson, and Casper, right? Like 2 of those guys are going to be like your centers of the future. 2C, 3C, wherever they are, it's kind of up to them. It's all going to shake out. But centers, it's way easier for a center to go the wing versus the other way around. Like wingers don't really play center that well. So I'd say out of the 3 of them, to be completely honest, I think it would have to be Danielson that would be a winger. Maybe Casper. I mean, it's really tough to say because they've been centers their whole career. It's just what they do. But yeah, I think primarily they're getting him as like a center. Like, I didn't even speak about his two-way game too. Like, his two-way game is unbelievable. It's actually really, really good. Like the fact that he doesn't really have that explosive speed with his skating, it doesn't really matter because he can just he back checks. Like the guy will just he'll come like a freight train down there, like trying to backtrack people. So to me, he's kind of like a more high-end, like Brand said, Nygaard that I talked about last week. He's Brand said Nygaard if you played center and had a little bit more skill. I think that's what Helenius is.
I'd say it's a pretty nice compliment right there.
Yeah, I mean, I really think he could be. I think he could be a 2C candidate, honestly, of the future. Like, there's nothing wrong with having 3 guys that could be your future 2C. Like, that is, you'll take that all day.
That's a good problem to have right there. Derek, do you have anything that you want to ask, or do you have anything that you want to toss in there about this prospect?
I mean, you guys covered a large portion of everything that I didn't even know about the kid already. I've been seeing his production just even in the men's Liga, and then his production through every other tournament and league he went through, just playing under World Juniors under 18, World Juniors under 20, over a point production in those games. Like, in fact, he's going to be in league again next year and men's league once again, and his point production probably is just going to skyrocket up after this.
You hope.
I feel like Matt might be right in the fact that he probably is going to be a little bit more ready than most as long as he puts on a little bit more weight, because at just under 6 foot, 180 pounds, definitely can get pushed around quite a bit in the NHL at that size. But at the same time, we've seen players do it all the time. So possibly he could just say, screw it, I'm ready. Or if he puts on more weight, maybe we get a Raymond situation, which I'm not upset with that either.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Raymond did it. Thank you for saying that. Like, Raymond did that in one summer, and look at the difference between him last year versus this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this player, he did in the playoffs, he did play 6 games, and he was a point per game player in the playoffs. So for 2 goals, 4 assists. So good on him for doing that, honestly. Thanks, Matt. I think you brought some great insights on this player, and same with Derek on the previous player. Sorry, I didn't say that earlier, but
I just want to say before we move on, I would be shocked if he's there at number 15. I
would be too.
I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it'd be like ASP 17 last year. It's like no way that I think this guy would be here.
Yeah, look at the teams that really just need a center, right? Or at least a center depth in their pipeline. So that's what they're going to be drafting him for. And for the Red Wings, I mean, do they really need the center depth? I think they might be looking for the winger aspect, but this is still a player that I would like to add nonetheless. So thanks for bringing 100%. Him to light for everyone, Matt. Derek.
100%.
Hi.
You get the next one. Bye. Hello.
Woo! My turn. All righty. Well, let's get into the guy that I actually did some more research on for everybody. And if I get the name wrong, sue me. I don't know. It's Russian. We got Igor Chernishov. Chernishov?
Anybody else? It's Chernishov.
Just sound it out, Derek.
Cherny and Shove.
Chernishov.
Chernishov. There you go. Chernishov. Zach, one more time for me.
Chernishov.
Cool, we're going with it. All right, we got Igor coming up, and let me tell you, it was terrible trying to watch any of these highlights on the Potato Vision and of the MHL. Max Vision, like I told them, 360p probably over there, and that's probably crystal clear for them at this point. Please get them better cameras. I don't
They're
know.
probably still using Cold War era cameras.
Oh, God.
I love internet.
High tech. Like, come on. All right. We got the power forward coming in at left wing. I would say power forward-ish because there are some aspects about his game that do need a little bit of improvement. Born November 30th, 2005, 6'2", 196 pounds. So I'd say probably one of the guys in the draft that are pretty much size ready for the NHL. So that's not a bad thing to have. According to the scouting reports, he could go anywhere from 9, which is from Central Scouting and International Players, all the way up to even, 30th, I believe, that McKenzie report put out. So there's a large stipulation in there. On average, it looked like he was between 15 and 20, though. So, again, another player that seems to be in the ballpark for the Red Wings. He played at the KHL for the Dynamo Moskva. Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
Moskva?
We shouldn't have given Derek the Russian player.
Yeah, my Russian is very rough. But he played 34 games in the KHL with them. 1 goal, 3 points. And then finished the year mainly in the MHL for pretty much the junior team for the Russian leagues with 22 games and 28 points. So not bad production, especially the fact that he played for the same MHL team last year, got 38 games and 38 points in that season. So we see a slight improvement from the year before. Didn't do anything too great in the KHL, but he definitely held his own with all the videos that I couldn't really watch because the KHL has a lot of weird rights over there that you're not allowed to actually see any of their videos. Russia, making it easy.
Known.
Yeah. Right. So, like I said, some slight improvement from last year with his record before, over a point per game. Not bad at all. And for someone his size, he does have some pretty decent speed and acceleration. I'd say probably above average for someone his size in the league, so that's a good thing to see. He does use his body, and he gets into the rough areas. He doesn't really give up on the puck, so I like the compete level on this kid. He actually tries really hard. He uses his body, which is something that I don't see a lot of large men doing, especially with a skill set and speed. So thank God that he can do that out there. And the fact that he has all that good puck control and good understanding of the game itself really does help out the fact that besides having good speed and acceleration, he's kind of just a north and south player, goes from one and the other, doesn't really have those fancy moves. But thank God he's got the body and he uses it. So I feel like that helps him out a lot in getting actual production for himself. I would say he's more of a playmaker more than a goal scorer. Since he can read the play a lot better than most, you can see the open lanes. He has very nice one-touch passes. I've watched a lot of those on the Potato Vision. Pretty nice to see it. Like, especially when he finds the guy in the back door, he doesn't have to do a no-look pass, just sees the puck coming, knows the guy's there, taps it right to his stick. Very nice to see. He does have an okay shot. It's not flashy. It's not crazy hard or super accurate. But the fact that he's strong on the puck kind of makes up for that. So he doesn't have to have those crazy shots. He pushes his way into the zone. He pushes his way to the goalie and crashes the net. The puck goes in. Like, you don't have to have the pretty goals. He has the dirty goals is more so what it is. But he does have a good one-timer. It's pretty accurate. But, nothing flashy, like I said. And all around, he kind of reminds me, if we were going to compare him to anyone on the Red Wings, a mixture between Raz and I'd say Daddy P a little bit here because I like his compete in the walls. His size, though, kind of gives it a little more edge that way. But that's why it's like I like Zach's face there because, yeah, another Raz, is that really what we want? Or a Daddy P? Like, obviously, we have an old Daddy P who does great work on the boards. Like, I love that player that can get into scrums, break down in there, like get the puck out, because that's just not a big thing in the NHL anymore, and it could be useful. But the production there, I don't know if it's going to be the same because it's giving me, like I said, Raz vibes, which is kind of a scary thought. So I'm kind of back and forth on this player, but from everybody I've watched, from his size, speed, and what he can do on the ice, minus having a few blips of just skating around, watching the plays, not picking up the right defenseman or whatnot, he probably has a capability of being one of the most NHL ready players. But where you got to put him right away, more so I'd see him working out to be in more of a bottom 6 role. So, like I said, I liked Carlos' pick a little bit more than my own for this one. So I was a little bit more nitpicky on him. But overall, I don't see him being a bad pick for the Wings at 15 because I feel like he's definitely going to be there. But most likely, I would rather them try to, maybe get a Helenius, maybe get someone Zach's about to speak here. Try to push the envelope a little bit more, but I would say he would be a safe pick. You know what you're probably going to get. So, yeah, maybe. No, I probably wouldn't pick him, honestly.
So, to step in here, so for me, how long is it going to take him? How long is it going to take him to come over from Russia, right? I mean, if his potential, I guess that's the question. What really is his ceiling? What's his floor? Do we really even know that? And for you to kind of say reminders of like a Rasmussen and a Perron, that screams middle 6 to bottom 6, kind of like how you said to me. But I don't know anything really about this player. All I did was really just give you the selection to look into him and see what he can do, because like you said, he's kind of all over the rankings, right? I've seen him pretty low in some mock drafts that people have done, or from analysts that do the rankings. I've seen him pretty low. I've seen him pretty high. So he's pretty much all over the place. So this guy, while it does sound like he could be a safe pick, I think that this could be a very risky pick to make in the same token, because if understanding how is it going to translate into the NHL game, we know the KHL is probably pretty close to being the second best league in the entire world when it comes to hockey, right? Some can make the argument the AHL could be the second best, but whatever you want, right? Just depends. So I mean, Derek, does he like to get into? So it doesn't really sound like that his shooting is really his greatest attribute. What actually is his greatest attribute? But when it comes to at least his shooting, does he get into the tough areas? Does he get into the rough areas? Does he at least try to do that a little bit? Give me some juice to work here and get me enticed a little bit.
From what I've watched of him, most of his points, most of his goals and whatnot come from him just pushing through the opposition. He doesn't have, like I said, not flashy with his hands. He doesn't have that edge work back and forth really well, but he has the speed to get down the ice and has that big body. And he uses that big body, especially just to push through everybody, leans into them, and he crashes that net. And when he's on the boards, he battles the puck out, he gets it to his wingers, and he's made great passes from under pressure from like 2-3 players. So you see these type of things, it's like, okay, it makes me feel a little bit better about what he could possibly do out there. His KHL performance obviously wasn't anything too great to speak of, but from what I've heard and from what there was one video I got to see of him in the KHL, just one. It was some good battling he's been doing, so I feel like he can keep up with the opposition out there, but you give me a fun one, Zach. I'm just trying to think about the bright side to say about somebody that might not ever leave Russia either, because thank you for throwing that aspect out, the Russian factor. He's not a Demidov, so he's not going to be probably forced too hard to move as quickly. So, but under any circumstance, I'd say not, like I said, a safe pick, most likely going to be in your bottom 6 role, I would have to say, in the future for whoever gets him.
What are your thoughts, Matt?
I mean, listen, if you're talking about this guy and picking him at 15, do you think he's just going to be a bottom 6 player? I don't really see why you would do that. Like, if you pick this guy and you're hoping, he'll be an effective middle 6 player, but it turns out he's only a bottom 6 player, I guess that's fine. But I don't think you want to pick a guy just like, yeah, this is going to be depth, and we need depth. We absolutely do not need that. We need guys that are high end, like risky players still, but like high end players. Like we talked about Yzerman last week. Like that's the player we need to go for. Like there's a risk there, but there's also the potential of a massive, massive payoff, like a massive reward. Mm-hmm. So at 15, that's what we need to go for. I can see a team like, Chicago's got a couple first round picks. The Sens have a couple first round picks. I think even Calgary has 2 picks. I could see teams like that going after him, just like, saying like, well, we already have, a high pick in the first round. We're going to go get a guy who's going to be a solid player for years to come. At least that's what you hope, and that's what you think when you pick him. But, we're picking down here in the 20s. Hey, we got another pick here. Let's go for a guy like Chernishov. You never know. Maybe he could pay off in a big way. Like, yeah, for sure. The Russia factor is a real thing here. And I think maybe that's pushing him down the boards a little bit. But I mean, you know what? Like, we talk about a lot about the Russia factor. I can't think of anyone that's really been affected by it. You know what I mean? Like, we were talking about Michkov last year. Like, well, who knows when he's going to come over? He'll be over next year, So I think the Russia factor is not, like, I think people play it up more than what it actually really is. Like, when you're a kid and you're like a highly skilled hockey player and you have the chance of playing for the NHL, I mean, that's what everyone wants to do, right? Like, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you live in Antarctica. That's what you want to do. That's your dream, is to play in the NHL. And if you have a real chance to do it, why would you pass up on it? So, yeah, I'm going to pass on this guy at 15. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of risk there if not a great payoff.
Yeah, and to follow up with what you just said, Matt, I don't know. I've really been interested in that Antarctica beer league. I heard it's pretty well highly touted, so I might take a rush on that. So
you can play pond hockey 365 days a year. So like, what's not to like about that,
But but to follow up on the risk there, yeah, to me, I don't really see, because there is the risk there. I see the risk. I don't really see the reward personally. Maybe if I did a little digging myself. Not saying that Derek didn't do a good job at highlighting this player. I think you did a fantastic job, Derek, based on what you were given, right? There's not very much that you can get from over there in Russia because every country basically hates them right now. But to say the least, anyways, I don't see the reward, so maybe I could figure it out myself and do the due diligence. But I'll agree with Matt that maybe this is a more well-suited player for a team that has multiple first-round picks. Maybe this is a player that does fall in the second round, and then the team is like, well, we know what we're getting. This could be a middle six, at least a bottom six guy. Let's take him.
And not to tone him down at all. He is a very good player in a very good league, and he's done well for himself. Just at 15, it's 15.
The other choices available, yeah. I feel like are. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're getting into what I was getting into, because there's going to be other options there that are going to be much better. People are going to fall down the draft boards aggressively like they do every year. So,
yeah, and we'll find out ourselves, because our next episode will be a mock draft. You guys heard it here first. We'll say it at the end too. Maybe I could have said it at the first part of this episode, but I guess it doesn't really matter, because you guys will find out next weekend anyways when the episode releases. So the draft is coming up pretty close. So we have less than 3 weeks away. So get ready, boys and girls, and free agency is right around the corner. So Derek, do you have final thoughts on that prospect?
Like I've said, going probably late to mid first round. So nothing the Red Wings really need to be too worried about. I like the way Matt's thinking. Like, if he's like pops up in the second round, or, someone makes a trade for an earlier first round or a later first round pick, Steve, I don't know if you're trying to do that, but I really hope it's trying to get even farther towards the first pick overall, not farther back in the draft. But, if we randomly get another one, I wouldn't see it as a bad choice. Stock up. Get everything moving for the bottom, maybe a solid AHL player, but I don't know if I want that as a first round pick either. So, Chernishov, not a bad player.
We should say that I don't think he's going to last until the Red Wings pick in the second round. Like, someone will take him.
Yeah, most likely.
Oh, by that time, yeah, 100%.
He's definitely going to be a first round pick player. Just not 15, please.
All right. Well, that's Chernishov. Thanks, Derek. We appreciate that insight, and let us know if you guys believe any of these players that we've named out so far that you could see the Red Wings selecting. So let's go into the final player. This was my choice. I'm very uncertain if this player will actually be there. I think there is a chance. I believe it's a crapshoot, a 50-50 crapshoot, to be honest with you boys. This is another player, much like pretty much all the other players that we talked about, are in a range from probably 10 to 20, maybe 25, right? It just really all depends on that team that is looking for a specific player with that specific skill set. Because to be honest with you guys, all these players that we mentioned, and even this player that I'm about to mention, they all kind of fit the same bill. They all kind of do similar things. They all fit the similar bill of aspects that they can bring to a team. Some of them are different, though. And this player, he definitely has something different that a lot of these players that we mentioned don't have. But let's go into this player, and I'm going to be talking about Beckett Senica or Seneca, however you want to pronounce it. I've heard it both ways. He is listed at 6'2". I think he's 6'3". He's 181 pounds, right-handed right winger, playing for the Oshawa Generals out of the OHL. This season, he did put up 27 goals, 41 assists for 68 points in 63 games. So the points don't really stick out there. But listen to what I have to say about this player, okay? And I also want to say he did play 16 games in the playoffs this year, and this is where he really found his strides, right? Where he put up 22 points, 10 goals, 12 assists, 21 penalty minutes. Plus minus is, it is what it is. You don't really play too much of a factor into it, but he was a +9 during those playoffs. So, and a deep run too, 16 games during those playoffs for 22 points, over a point per game player in the playoffs. So, but get this, not this last season, but the season prior, he was only 5'10". He grew that much. He went from 5'10" to 6'2", 6'3". So he had a lot of adjusting to do in his second season in the OHL. And I think he did a really fantastic job. Like I said, I know that the point totals aren't really there, but based on what I have to say about this kid, there's a reason why he's quickly rising in mock drafts and draft boards amongst the NHL and its fans. But some strengths, I believe, is his skating, very agile and has some good edge work, but needs to work on speed a little bit. Just needs a bit more than what he already has a good shot, but needs to be more accurate. He takes a lot of opportunities, but just needs to be a little bit more accurate. He loves doing a one-timer and he loves doing a wrist shot, and they come with power, right? And so, but he just needs to be more accurate with his shot. But he has great hands, right? And so that's something that I will talk about down the line. Has hockey IQ, can extend the play, look for his teammates and scoring opportunities and allowing them to finish the job, sending them behind the back, backhand passes, all these great things. It almost reminds me of Patrick Kane and how he can extend the play, waiting for that player to get open, feed them the pass, puck on a string type of deal, right? It is pretty astounding the way that I view this player. He just brings a lot of similarities to former and current Red Wings players, right? And I don't know if Oshawa's system is built this way or if Seneca is just this good, because he's always able to find open space. You can go watch any of his highlight videos. I kid you not, there was probably at least 10 times, and there was probably a few that I did not get to see, at least 10 times where he was getting on a breakaway opportunity to score, and every single time he would put the puck into a net. And regardless of that, whether if it was a one-on-one situation, a one-on-two situation, or a 2-on-3 situation where he's applying pressure in the O-zone, he was scoring on the opponents too. And this goes to talk about how good his hands are, because to be able to go on 1-on-2 situations and still being able to put the puck on the net, let alone scoring, just screams his ability with the puck and his composure in these types of games, right? But continuing on, like I said, the 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 2-on-3 situations, it really doesn't matter. He's going to be able to score. He's going to be able to extend the play, find his teammates to score, right? Honestly, he can score all over the ice too. Loves being around the net. He can crash the net. He can score down the slot. He could score in the faceoff circle. He really just does it all. But I don't believe that his shot is his best attribute. I really do think it's his skating, but his acceleration needs work, right? And I do love his compete level. I think that he brings a lot to the game. he's almost kind of like a dual threat kind of player, right? Where it's not a two-way player, right? Where it's good offense and good defense. I think he is a power forward / playmaker, right? Because being 6'2", 6'3", learning how to play in his body, right? He's still very skinny, 181 pounds at being 6'2", 6'3". That's where the power forward comes in. Once he starts to add on size, and he showed it this season, right? Being in the playoffs and how strong he can be because he goes in those rough and tough areas. He's not afraid to go directly into the slot, right in front of the net, crashing the net. He does a really good job on the offensive side. So offense is one of his main strengths, right? And I would say that's one of his top ones, including his skating. For me, improvements, I just think he needs to add weight. Much like we said, that's all these players, right? They're 18, 17-year-old kids. What do you, how big do you want them to be? They're not all corn huskers, right? Living in Nebraska and just eating on corn or whatever their family's growing over there. Sometimes we'll try too hard and just put himself and his teammates in situations, just trying to force the plays, and will create turnovers. So he's just gotta, but it's one of those situations where he's learning too, right? So as long as he keeps doing that and learns from his mistakes, I'm okay with him doing that, right? So, and then he just needs to work on the back checking. He actually has really good forechecking. He will stick lift his opponents and create more opportunity in the O zone for him and his teammates, and then find his teammates for the pass. And I like his passing. His passing is absolutely great too. His compete, like I said, I think is great. But yeah, just his back check just needs to work on the speed, the acceleration a little bit. Just try not to get in those moments where you fuck up and you're out of position. So that's just what happens with him. So I really like this player. I think he's a top 6 forward without a doubt. He could be a top line player for the Red Wings in the future. That's how I can see him fit. I do think it would be best suited to be behind Lucas Raymond, but I kid you not, guys. If I had to mesh two players together, it's Patrick Kane and Pavel Datsyuk. He's got hands like Pavel Datsyuk. He has the passing ability like Patrick Kane, the backhand saucers. It's just insane. If you guys haven't seen highlights on him, Beckett Senica, I believe, is, if you go back, 5 years from now, looking back at this draft, you'll be like, this player should have went in the top 10 if he does not go in the top 10. And if the Red Wings select him, this is a player that you will be very happy with. I firmly believe that, but I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to think on this player based on what I've said or what you guys have seen. But this would be a player that I'm very happy to get in the draft for sure.
I mean, man, go ahead, Matt.
I'm just really happy that you compared another guy to Pavel Datsyuk. Now I don't feel as bad when I said it about Helenius.
It's not about saying I believe that he is.
That he will be. No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. It's just so hard. It's like there's so many people out there that will just compare one certain player to Pavel Datsyuk, and it's just you guys never watched him play. There's no one like him. I know I'm getting on a tangent, but it's just whenever someone says that, it's just no, there will never be another Pavel Datsyuk. You're just wrong. But yeah, and I definitely know what you're trying to say there. His puck skills are undeniable. They're some of the best in this entire draft. Yeah, this guy to me, he's kind of like Helenius, but if he played on the wing, that's kind of the best way I could describe him. I mean, I really like his size. His size is actually super important. The fact he's already, what'd you say, 6'3" or 6'2", whatever he is, already being over 6 foot, that's going to make his transition to the NHL. It's going to be a lot easier, and yeah, when you look at the stats, I don't know, for the OHL, a point, just over a point per game player, that doesn't really jump off the page, but looking at his numbers in the playoffs, this dude went beast mode in the playoffs. Yes. He had 22 points in 16 games. He absolutely took over that team. So yeah, he's definitely a play driver. I do really like this player. It's hard to say if I would put him above a guy like Helenius, but I think if we're comparing him to a guy like Brantig Newgard at our spot, then I would definitely rather have Senica if they're both available. Yeah. There is a lot of upside here with this player, and I don't really know if you're risking that much if you picked him at 15. I wouldn't say it would be a surprise. I have seen him ranked all over the board. I've seen him as high as 9 or 10, which that's kind of a huge gap there. So
yeah,
he's definitely a possible option at 15. And I think if he's there, and if he's there, I think he'll be the best available option for the Red Wings. I really do.
I like how you, and I would agree with you. You brought up Helenius, and I would agree with you that Helenius probably would get selected before Seneca or Seneke, however you want to pronounce
I think
it.
he would, yeah.
Just based on position alone,
Yeah.
I really don't know how much better Helenius would be than Seneke, but based on position, because he does play center, correct, Matt. Yeah, I would follow that suit with you. Derek, what do you believe? What's your thought on this prospect?
Well, I'm just more upset with the really big downside is that he pushed himself so high up the rankings with the goddamn playoffs. Like,
yeah.
I was happy with this player coming into the season just because I've known about his name before. And being at 5'11", he put up pretty good production his year before his draft year. At, I believe just what was it, over under a point per game, just a little bit. And then comes in 5 inches taller, probably barely the same weight, and blows away the playoffs like that and does pretty decent in the OHL. Not great, like you said, but he's getting used to his body. Like 5 inches, like that's an insane amount of like growth in a small amount of time. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's still doing that production he's doing, I think he's just going to only get better at this point. And if we get him, if he somehow falls to 15, I think it's going to end up being a pretty decent steal. Just because we're going to watch this production grow and grow as he gets more used to the body he's in, gets more used to being a bigger guy, being used to being able to use his level and everything like that. I'd say it'd be a win.
Yeah, and you got to think like the future outlook projection of this player, like right now, 6'2", 6'3", let's say he is only 6'2". I mean, try to get up as close to 200 pounds. So Beckett Seneke, 4 years from now, if he's damn near 200 pounds, that is a really good power forward / playmaker. And that's what I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a dual threat type of player. Jesus, boys. I don't know what's going on today. It's the Sunday scaries, but I'm very excited for this player, regardless if he does not get drafted by the Red Wings or not, or if he does or not. Sorry. Jesus, I'm losing my mind over here. But yeah, I think that he would fit in really well with the Red Wings prospect system or just with the Red Wings in general. And you got to think, like, if he's doing this in the playoffs in the OHL, I think that this can translate into the NHL. Like I said, he does like to go into the slot, likes to crash a net, get into the greasy areas. And with his stick handling, I know that you don't really get to do that as much in the NHL, but as time progresses on, like I said, if he just packs on an extra 20 pounds and if he can get to 200 at 6'3", 6'2", that's going to be a tough, hard boy to knock down off the puck. And he already is tough to get off the puck currently right now. So the sky's the limit for this player. Like I said, he is a top 6 projected player. I do think that there is the upside for him to be a top line player. If there's that outlook where you do draft him at 15 and Alex DeBrincat, you don't see him once his contract is over with the Detroit Red Wings, then you got Lucas Raymond, Dylan Larkin, and Beckett Seneke as your top line. And I think that's pretty great to have right there. So this is a player that I would be really excited about. Shoots right too, exactly what we need. But like I said, this is a player that's very similar to some of the other players that we mentioned earlier today. And so it just really all depends. I think each one has their own particular skill set, but very much similar game style. I would say Michael Hagee or Hague, however you pronounce it, is very similar to a Beckett Seneke, just not a center, right? So it would be a tough decision. I mean, if you're at 15 and all 4 of these players are there, let's just say it. Which one are you guys taking personally?
Well, not the player I originally chose. So. Let me tell you, there's only 3 here, really. Let's be honest, guys.
Sorry, Chernishov. Sorry.
Boy, I mean, it is so tough to choose between Helenius and Seneca. I'd have to give the edge to Seneca, just given the position he plays. Like, we need wingers, like pure wingers. Like, sure, Helenius could come in, he could be a winger, but he's a center. Like, I think they would draft him and want him to be a center. Like, we need like these dynamic play driving wingers like this. And, even more so if Kane doesn't decide to come back. Like, I know Seneca's not going to come in next year, but, we're going to need someone who we can draft and develop to be hopefully like a Kane-like player, but even an even bigger player, like a stronger player than Patrick Kane. So
yeah.
I think
could you imagine having a second Patrick Kane? Maybe not to the degree, not trying to say, oh my God, this guy can be the next Patrick Kane, but like a bigger Patrick Kane, right? Like 6'2", 6'3" with the hands like Patrick
could you imagine
Kane?
Like 6'3" Patrick Kane? Like that would be just unfair. Like he'd score 5 points a night. Like the league would be on notice. Like he'd be making $20 million a year.
I want to put this out there. I just want to put this out there. By no means do we believe that these players are going to be these players that we are comparing them to be. And we're not really comparing them to these players. We are simply saying we see similarities that we are contrasting with these prospects that we are talking about, right? So trying to correlate, what we currently have to what we could see getting in the near future, right? Because like we said, this draft is very close. It's on the 28th or 9th. I believe it's on the 29th this month. So we're only 20 days away currently. Today is June 9th. It's 12:27 p.m. currently. So it's getting closer, boys. Any final thoughts on or Derek? Yeah. So Matt, you're picking Senica. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. Okay, Derek, what about you?
I'm just expecting Senica to grow another 2 to 3 inches, because if you can do 4 to 5 in 1 year, might as well just get the extra 2 in there and be 6'4", 6'5". Screw it. Let's go with Senica, because I just think his upside is his ceiling's very high, I feel like, for himself. So, and Helenius is a good player though too. Obviously, I wouldn't be upset with either. I got to put that out there too.
Yeah,
but the upside.
And I'm not. Yeah, sorry, Derek, but yeah, I really don't have a preference over. I think it's between Helenius, or for me personally, I think it's Helenius or Senica. I really don't have a preference over the two. I like the stick handling and the offensive upside a little bit more, I think, on Senica, but I don't think you can go wrong with adding the center depth and a more projected, established, like 2C for Helenius, right? So I like that. Like Matt said, you can never have too many of those types of players, and that's a great problem to have. So if one goes down, then at least you have another one to replace, because like we said, when Dylan Larkin was out, this team was lost. So let's add as many 2Cs as we can. That would be wonderful, Steve Yzerman. But yeah. All right. We're going to close it off. Are we good on those prospect profiles?
I love it.
Cool, boys. Yeah. Next episode, we will be focusing on our mock draft. We will probably be spinning the wheel to see who picks for the Detroit Red Wings as we do the recording for that. So it'll be a surprise for all of us on who gets the pick for the Red Wings. So, but all right, boys, let's go ahead and jump into some Red Wings news and some around the league news. And to start off with some Red Wings news, boys, the Red Wings actually did something. Steve Yzerman, thank you.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was the signing everyone's been waiting for. Why don't you tell them what it is?
The Red Wings. I have it saying today. I don't remember the exact day, but they signed left wing Jacob Richlovsky, I believe is how you pronounce it, to a 2-year entry-level contract. He is 22 years old, left-handed shooting left winger out of the Czechia League, playing with Billy Tigery Liberec.
Okay.
I have no judgment on how you pronounce it.
I don't know if that's a team or the name of a human being.
He did post 26 goals, 20 assists, 46 points in the 51 games played for his team in the respective league. Jacob, it might be Jakob, I don't know, was first in goals in the league, second on his team in points, and 9th overall in the league in points. So that speaks volume a little bit, right? I mean, 22 years old, leading a men's league in goals. I think that's pretty awesome, right? Do I project him to make the Red Wings? Anything is possible. You really don't know. Maybe he has a stellar camp for whatever reason, but I think he's destined for the AHL. I mean, I could see this to where maybe they don't bring back some of their older players. Some of these, maybe this is a sign saying too that some of the younger players are going to be making a jump up. Yeah, AHL player. So what do you guys think about this?
That's pretty much all anticipating that this sign really is pretty much filling gaps that are going to start existing in the AHL.
He's would be a player. Yeah, I'm curious to hear what Nick and Brandon have to say about this player. I don't see him going to Toledo, so it's got to be more than likely Grand Rapids. So I would like to hear where they could see this player fitting into the roster down there.
I gotta be honest, if this guy makes the Red Wings and has a consistent role, no matter where it is on the team, the signing is a home run.
Oh yeah,
there's absolutely nothing to expect here. Like if he's gonna go to Grand Rapids and he's gonna be like an effective, maybe point per game player there, that's awesome. That's pretty much what the signing is for. It's just for AHL guys, and it's to make camp exciting too. You're bringing this guy in, and I think this is kind of a way to push your guys that we're saying they're a lock for the team next year, but I've been saying like, no, you still got to earn it. So I think this is another guy to bring in just to be like, hey, if you can be better than this guy who's 2-3 years older than you, come on over to the team.
Fair point.
Like another body to make camp interesting. It's the same reason they get all those guys out of college, just like, hey, Danny Smith from Bemidji State University. You want to
Antarctica Beer League?
You think you're better than Nate Danielson? You think you're better than Marco Casper? Why didn't you go see if you can make the team? That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, still waiting for my call up. Like, what's going on, Steve? I haven't played in like 5 years, but I might
give him a call. Give him a call. Just be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, he's
all your emails to him went to spam.
Just be like, let me wear the jersey on the ice of other people wearing the jersey, and
just give me the seed too.
I just need one photo.
Let me just skate with Flarkin, all right?
I don't even need to be on the ice. Just give me the jersey.
That's what I confuse everybody. Like, who the fuck is that out there? Like, don't worry. I'm not here to ruin the team.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not making past day 1 in camp, so you don't have to worry about me.
In other news, Pierre LeBrun reports that meetings between agents for Perron, Kane, and presumably Raymond, because him and Kane have the same agency, and Steve Yzerman are expected to start in the next week or so. That was earlier this week, so it could have already started, or it could start upcoming here. So that's some great news. We expect fully Raymond's going to be back. The other two, we're not exactly sure. So
you can reasonably expect that Prom will be back.
As time goes on, I keep on thinking that Kane's probably not going to come back, but I don't know. People ask me all the time, and I'm just like, I don't know. And then when I tell them my honest answer, they're like, why do you got to be a negative Nancy? It's like, you want me to say, yeah, I don't know what you want.
The odds are going down every day.
Give me the job of being his agent, then I could give you the honest answer. Like, yeah, Steve said, go blow it out your butt, like Derek did.
I still have not seen enough to say for sure that he's leaving. People, even though there's nothing happening, that doesn't mean he's leaving.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's staying. I guess we'll see, but it doesn't mean for sure he's leaving. I actually did see, Zach, that the GM of the Blackhawks, Kyle Davidson, I don't know if this was like a press conference. I don't even know what interview this was, but he talked about Kane a little bit, and it sounds like there is a very low chance that he would come back, that they're just not going to explore that. So there you go. That's kind of like the only Kane news I have.
I mean, I like that Kane news. It's good.
I do too. That brings it down to 30 other teams it could be. So that's good. Actually, 29, because he's not going back to New York. So 29.
Yeah, that's true.
In other Red Wings news, Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond and the amazing Detroit Red Wings broadcast crew are ranked number 1, supposedly again. And I would assume it's again because they're awesome as hell. Voted number 1 again by fan vote on The Athletic. So congratulations to Ken and Mick on a job well done. And honestly, boys, I said it multiple times and I'll say it again. I can't remember the last time we had an exciting season quite like this. The amount of times I was out of my seat, my chair, my couch, wherever I was watching a game, just hopping up because of pure joy and excitement and the amazing calls that Ken and Mick made. This might be too early to say, but I mean, this was probably one of the top 5 seasons as a Red Wings fan for me. Call me young or call me naive or whatever, but maybe it's because it's been that long since we've had a really good season from the Red Wings. But I'd say
this is the most exciting season we had since 2012, maybe 2011.
I mean, there is a lot of hope.
Actually doing something in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them. Honestly, I more years to come. It'll be a sad day whenever they stop doing their jobs for the Red Wings, but very, very thankful.
Come on.
Yeah. Very, very thankful to have them. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, just give them a 6x9 right now, please. Both of them.
Give them like a infinity by 9. You'd stay here till you die, literally. We don't want you to leave.
The LeBron Nike Max deal, $1 billion lifetime deal. Please.
I'd take that. Oh, $1 billion, Jesus.
And then going into the around the league news, boys, the Stanley Cup final started yesterday between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Game 1, and it was
it could have been a good game.
My one swear word, bro. That was a fucked game. And when I say
that was certainly a hockey game.
It was just the weirdest game. I mean, the Florida Panthers couldn't get any offense going, but they scored 3 times. That was 3-0. Edmonton Oilers had quite a few opportunities to score. Bobrovsky came out and did his job, and then here's Skinner. And this is the thing. A lot of people were saying Skinner is the playoff guy. He's always been good in the playoffs. You got to trust him. I knew something smelled fishy. I don't know what it was and I said this on the last episode. Matt was there. Derek, you weren't, but
it certainly was.
If the Edmonton Oilers were to win the Stanley Cup final, would it not be the biggest fluke of a win from a cup winning team? And right now we are kind of witnessing, and I believe it, that we are witnessing that the last series that they had between the Dallas Stars was an absolute fluke. Maybe Andre just didn't show up or whatever it is. The whole Dallas Stars didn't show up, but this is my personal take. Matt's over here shaking. No, I don't know if he's doing that to me or
something else.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's Florida. I'm rescinding my pick last episode that the Oilers were going to win, but I think it's a lock. I think it's Florida's.
I mean, this entire series is coming down to their goalies. And unfortunately, on one end of the ice, you have Bob the God, and the other, you have the mustachio Stuart Skinner, who did ungodly atrocious through most of the year. Playoff guy, yeah, come on. I'm sorry. I just don't expect the player that does that the entire year to come in and just win you series after series like that. Zach, I think you're right. That was a fluke against Dallas. Yeah. That should not have happened.
Yeah, he stole you one because you're Connor McDavid, the #1 player in the world. You're Leon Draisaitl, your other top 5 player in the world. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Evander Kane, Bouchard, Nurse. They outplayed for you to help you. Did he do good? Yeah, Carlos said he did good. He looked good. Okay, but you can't look good in every series. And unfortunately, you're up against the Florida Panthers, who are a bigger beast than the Dallas Stars are, and they just. Like I said, the Edmonton Oilers, the whole game, it looks like they outshot them. They outpaced them basically from what it seemed to me. But the Florida Panthers just were able to get it done based on, like you said, the goaltending. So
all I've got to say about this game is if Florida goes on to win the Stanley Cup, this game was Bobrovsky's Conn Smythe game. Like if Florida wins the Stanley Cup, he is going to win the Conn Smythe. I'm going to say that right now. He's going to be the Conn Smythe winner.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, there's other candidates. Like, you could give it to Barkov. You could give it to Tkachuk. Like, there's great performers on that team. But, man, he's been far and away the best player in pretty much every single game outside of, like, maybe a few.
Well, and here's the reason why I think that they win it, especially if they end up shutting them out, like in the first 4 games, right? They sweep them, right? If they sweep them, you're definitely giving it to them because you did that against Connor McDavid, the best player in the world, right. Leon Draisaitl, the top 5 best player in the world, right? So I would agree with you on that.
Zach Hyman, the guy with the richest parents in the world. Yeah, 100%. I see where you're going with this.
Right, yeah.
There's a sweep of Edmonton. Who's going to get it first? Do you think Ken Holland's going to resign and retire first, or the organization's going to fire him first? Who's going to win in that battle?
Honestly, now that he made it this far, I don't think that they would this upcoming season. I don't think he would, but maybe the following season. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe this would be Holland's way of saying, hey, this is my last hurrah, because now I got to try and build this team on the fly to where I actually get a good goalie and fix up the defense a little bit? Because you got to think, like me personally, you got to trade one of the two. And I don't think you could trade Evander Kane. I don't think anyone wants to touch Evander Kane. It's a perfect fit for him in Edmonton, okay?
No.
Right? It's either you trade Ryan Nugent-Hopkins or you trade Leon Draisaitl. You got to pick one or the other, and you got to try and get a goaltender, or you got to fix your defense. I'm sorry. It's one of those two. You can't trade Connor McDavid. You can't. You could.
I'll take him. I'll take him.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, think about how much you're gonna have to trade away, though. I don't know if you're gonna want to when you see that price.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of teams like basically the only team I think that could, or there's a few teams that I think that could do it. Vegas, Toronto, and the Avs. Maybe Florida.
It would be very funny if Evander Kane went to Vegas. It would be very, very funny.
He was already in Vegas.
Evander Kane?
Yeah.
No, he played for San Jose. You don't get the joke I'm making. It's okay. We can move on.
Okay. Sorry. I'm leaving.
I'm not editing this part out, but Derek, you are wrong.
Okay.
He did not play for Vegas.
The
And
listeners
yes,
will
that
know.
was very funny.
The listeners will know. It's okay.
He's a gambler, Derek. He can't be in Vegas.
Oh, that's probably why I was correlating the two together. Okay, gotcha. I'm running away now. Bye.
Oh no, he played in Vegas. He just didn't play for Vegas. Now you're getting it.
Yeah, I'm catching up now. I was like, wait.
Now you're getting it.
All right. So NHL legend Joe Pavelski retires. Honestly, pretty like it's a retirement, but not officially retired, supposedly. Says there might be a chance that he could come back, but honestly, it's probably going to be in a different league if he wants to keep playing hockey. But kind of sucks to I always like Joe Pavelski as a player. I really wanted to see him win a cup. It does suck when you see a player like that who has played in the league for so long. I think it's been 20 plus years or around there. So would have loved to have seen him win a cup. So, but never played for the Wings. Always wanted them to. Never got the opportunity. So stupid Ken Holland, you rat bastard.
Yeah, good for him. He's played a long time. It does suck. He's way too good not to have a cup, so it does blow. And they had one opportunity, and it's gone.
I honestly thought this was going to be the best opportunity in his entire career to win the cup, which is kind of crazy because he did win the cup. He made the cup finals one time
with the Stars.
With the Stars and with the Sharks.
So a couple times.
Yeah. So I guess a couple times. Yeah.
Well, couple other things. Gary Bettman confirms 4 Nations games will be at the Bell Center in Montreal and TD Garden in Boston in February. So that's pretty cool.
Yay, more hockey.
More hockey for sure. Salary cap will go to $88 million next year with a $65 million cap floor, which is huge. You know, I mean, we were in a flat cap era for so long. I mean, if it keeps increasing year after year like this, I mean, we're currently at 83.5, I believe. Maybe it's 82.5. I think it's 83.5. That's $4.5 million you're increasing. So that helps out a lot of teams in good ways and bad ways, honestly. So for teams that don't have a lot of cap, that kind of hurts them. For teams that don't have cap, that helps them. So the teams that need more cap, they got to go out and find the really shitty contracts to have. And so we got Justin Hall for you, team.
I was going to say, we got a lot of those, buddy. We'll shell them out, no worries.
Come get them. We'll throw in used pair of socks, too, with them. So
maybe a washing machine.
Do you guys?
Those are too valuable. No.
Do you guys see what's happening here? $88 million. It's a sign. Patrick Kane is re-signing.
Whoa! Didn't even think about that. That's a good correlation right there. Nice.
I'm still just butthurt to the fact that $88 million still just one NBA contract for somebody for a year. So
it's funny.
Come on, NHL.
Because we were talking about that last night, Jeff, JR, and I, when we were at B-Dubs watching the game, and Jeff was like complaining, like, yeah, like McDavid, like he only makes like a third of what an NBA LeBron James makes, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. That's NHL marketing's fault for not, you know,
they could have done so much better.
So. All right, boys, we're gonna take a vote here for ourselves. You guys may have already submitted your votes for the potential name for the Utah team, but yeah, they're down to the 6 finalists for their name. The options are the Utah Blizzard, Hockey Club, or HC, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, or the Yeti? Which one's your favorite, guys? Honestly, I already told you guys, I like the Outlaws. I think it's the more NHL fit name here.
I just want to be right, so I'm going to go Utah HC just because I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to be for the first year anyways.
So that's I don't think that's confirmed. I think that's the rumor. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is confirmed that's the way that they're doing it. But if that's the way that they're doing it, it's definitely a money ploy. I get it that you want to make sure you get your logo right and your name right, but it's definitely a money ploy because you're going to be producing these jerseys. You're going to be selling this name. You're going to be selling all these merch and apparel, like knick-knack stuff, right? So
I mean, you gotta get the OG before they were named, but obviously we're gonna go with the real name. I like the Yeti still. I don't know why. I feel like it goes with the line of like what we've been doing with teams like the Seattle Kraken. Now it's time for the Utah Yetis.
No S at the end. It would just be Yeti.
The single Utah Yeti. Look at all the Yeti. Okay, I hate it now.
The way that I always try to think about it is like trying to put myself like I'm watching TV. It's like the NHL trade deadline, and I'm listening to Darren Elliott saying, you know, the Utah Outlaws are looking for a potential top 6 forward to add to their team, or saying, you know, the Utah Yeti are trying to look for the Utah Venom are trying to, you know, which one sounds exactly the best? Like, and you got to think like game by game calls. Oh, here come the Outlaws. The Outlaws just got a power play. Oh, no.
Yeah, I see it makes you pretty happy with the Outlaws.
What are your thoughts, Matt?
I could honestly be talked into any of these besides Hockey Club, which sucks because that's probably what it's going to be, is Utah Hockey Club. I honestly, out of all of them, I think my favorite, I've been thinking about it a little bit. I think my favorite is Blizzard. And it's also because I like Dairy Queen, so maybe that's why. But, you know, I think about all these names, and then you have to think about like what the jersey is going to look like too. Like, could be like a nice like powder blue, kind of like
that's what I'm thinking about it too, Matt. Yeah.
Oh, that would look so nice. And you know, you can have like a little rivalry between like the Avalanche and the Blizzard. Like Avalanche and Blizzard, it's like the same kind of thing, like a snow natural disaster or whatever you want to call it. Like, so I don't know. I like Blizzard a lot. I think it could be kind of a fun name. Definitely a lot of potential with the jerseys. Yeah, I don't mind it. Just, you know, you're at the draft, like, hey, what do you think?
I think Matt muted himself.
I don't know what just happened there. I didn't
restart where you were.
Anyways, yeah, I think it could be a fun opportunity with like, you know, the jersey and everything, and maybe like think about like a mascot or something. And, you know, imagine being at the draft and it's just like, hey kid, you're going to be a Blizzard. What do you think about that? He's probably going to be like, kind of a dumb name, but cool. I'll be a Blizzard, I guess.
Yeah, Matt, I think I'm going. My opinion is the opposite of yours. I don't like that it's very close to being like the Colorado Avalanche. I just think it's kind of like, I'm not saying that I think you're like, I hear what you're saying, but I just don't like the name. I just don't think it's a good fit. Like, you just said it like, hey, I hate the name. Like, imagine being drafted like, hey, you're a Blizzard now.
Like, cool. Okay. Yeah, but like you get drafted by Colorado, like you're like, okay, I'm gonna be an Avalanche, like just like a bunch of like snow falling down a mountain. Like,
fair.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, if you think Blizzard is dumb, then Avalanche is also dumb.
I mean,
like,
no one said it was good.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not here to say that the Avalanche name is good either, because I absolutely hate that franchise and organization. But Nathan McKinnon and Ranton and all those other players, they are the bomb.com. I would say I'm a big fan of players, not organizations, other than the Red Wings, Vegas, and the Kraken. You're welcome, Tree. All right, so that's all she wrote, boys. Great episode today. Go ahead and jump into our final thoughts. Not all at once now. Come on.
Everyone jump around.
Yeah, my final thoughts are I've been going to this Taco Bell by my house for a little while, and every time I go there, they're out of Baja Blast. I don't know what the deal is with this Taco Bell, and I'm going to use my platform because it's probably the only way that I can actually get their attention. They're not listening, but this is all I can do. Hey, Taco Bell at Orchard Lake and Middlebelt Road, Get some fucking Baja Blast. You're Taco Bell. Like, what's going on here? Like, it's like going to McDonald's and they're like, oh, yeah, we got no Big Mac. Sorry. Oh, we've got no chicken nuggets. What's going on here? Get the Baja Blast. Like, call the truck in or whatever you have to do. And just get it in the store. It's so stupid. That's it. That's my final thoughts.
Derek, please go.
Well, those were some solid final thoughts, Matt. Screw Taco Bell, even though I love them too. But let's go Red Wings. Steve, I like Seneca at 15, but, I'm not going to be upset if you try to push the envelope and reach for a higher pick in the draft. That way we can see some different names that we probably wouldn't think of being at our actual disposal. So, hoping for better. Seneca at 15, not bad still. So, Florida's going to win the cup probably. Edmonton is just McDavid and Draisaitl, and that's about it. Yeah, hopefully Steve does something well, because let's go Red Wings. I don't want to have a disappointing draft.
Well, all right, boys. Yeah. My final thoughts are, let's go Red Wings, Grand Rapids, Toledo, Matt, Derek, draftees, the prospects. Thank you all for stopping by. Once again, if you haven't already, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are new. Hit the thumbs up button if you're returning. We appreciate you guys for stopping by once again. If you haven't already, why don't you go ahead and check out our episode from last weekend covering our first round of eligible draft prospects that we could see the Red Wings drafting 15th overall in the 2024 NHL draft. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out our store with our merchandise and apparel that is on our link tree on all of our socials. And yeah, those are my final thoughts, boys. Honestly, really great episode. Wish Carlo was here, but next time we'll get him on the mock draft. Next episode, we'll be covering our mock draft right before the draft. That is on June 29th, I believe, probably at like 8 p.m. I'm not sure if we're going to go live with that or if we're going to record the next day, but we will be covering obviously after the draft or during the Red Wings player that they select. Hopefully it's one of the players that we talked about in these last two episodes. But from here, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Until next time, we'll see y'all on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.